Hello there, everybody. I'd like to welcome you as your activity guide for this session. This is the SOS ASMR meditation. We are focusing today on some positivity. So, to begin with, there's a few things that we think about when we say meditation. We think about, first of all, where you're sitting, what your posture is. So, to begin with, make sure that you're seated or laying down or propped up or even standing if you'd like to be in a position that embodies your power and grace and poise, and something that is also very comfortable for you, something that makes you feel at peace and even. And in some cases, during these meditations, you may fall asleep. But that's perfectly all right. Perfectly all right. It's natural for the body to have these sways, these back and forths, these waxes and wanings, just like the earth itself. We live in a beautiful world. And when we're focusing on that second thing, just breathing a little bit, nothing more than a soft, careful in and out, paying attention to how you feel about this and where you are. I'd like to take you with me on a bit of a journey. And we'll start someplace that seems intimidating, someplace far away from what you might be used to, unless you're like me and some of the folks down south who have gotten quite a bit of snow and cold recently. But let's not be too intimidated by that. Let's imagine this place, this snowy place. The rain that falls in such a cold form that it's turned into flakes. The mercury has dropped far below the bottom. And everything is covered in that white, thick layer. The flakes are so fat and so wide that you can hear them hitting the ground. And the wind blows, howling through the trees. It can kind of feel scary. Scary being so far out from civilization, from the safety of your warm bed, or from a place of some kind of hearth and warmth. But imagine if you just had the will, just had the thought in your mind, the thought of seeing things change. Such a small thought, such a important wish. All the trees around you with their tiny branches, nearly frozen, hanging with no leaves, deciduous, hibernating. But if you imagined for just a moment with me, with your breath, that you could change something, then change the temperature just a little bit up. let things heat up. Small amount at first, but they'd heat up still. And it starts with such a small thing. Just maybe 5 degrees. That 20-degree weather goes to 25. And you feel it just a little bit, it's nothing too much at first, but all that radiant, strong, time-changing energy, it flows from you bountifully into your surroundings. Just like when you wish for something and you ache and pine for the future to come sooner. Just with that same vibe, that same thought, everything around you changes too. It's such a small thing. But that small ember inside, if you cherish it, if you fuel it and harness it, that heat radiates from you and changes everything that you see. It can change this ice-blasted place into something far, far different. But now that we're thinking about it a little bit more, what if we made it just a little bit warmer? 25 degrees becomes 33, going over the freezing point. What do you hear in the background? Is it a tree dropping its snow from a leaf, from a branch? Or maybe you hear something else. The sound of a deer stepping a distance away, a rabbit poking its head out, a bird coming from its hidden nest. All of these small creatures are drawn like moths to your flame. They can feel the change coming. That winter transforming. Transforming little by little. Degree by degree. But you can feel it as well, the mercury rising back up. That temperature changes again, going higher and higher. You might notice the water beginning to flow from the melting snow. Icy at first, flowing away. But around you, the grass has already started to spring up. The tundra changing. The forest coming alive. A nearby tree starts to shake a little bit. Snow collapsing from its branches. And just as quickly as it began, the snow, it stops. It turns back into rain. It's warm. Warmer than it was before. And your energy has changed it again. Let's turn it up a little bit warmer, all the way up to 40 degrees. That heat, benevolent, giving, nurturing, gracious. It's life made real in spite of this frost, this freeze. You can feel the insects in the earth around you coming out of their homes, out of their hibernation, looking around, straddling the snow and taking a gander as it melts around them. Let's turn it up even higher, 43 degrees. The clouds above you, the overcast, the white reflecting on the white of the snow. Suddenly the clouds break, the storm ending completely, and the light shines. It shines. It shines on your face, and you almost forgot how nice it is. And you hear a chirp of a bird, just a small, delicate thing at first, far away, almost like it wasn't there at all. And in your ear, whispering ever so gently, is a soft breeze coming from the west. The drifts in the snow parted here and there, now and again. Animals begin to move about, awakening fully. And when the light shines through the trees, the leaves start to bloom just a little bit. We raise the temperature all the way up to 49. Fading snow, becoming full of a limpness, as if having forfeit the fight against the heating air. It's lost the battle. The plants around you seem to be coming back to life. Vines twirling up the sides of trees. Pools of water where grass soaks up the moisture. The temperature gets raised all the way to 51. The sun out in full. Coming from behind the clouds. The sound of the birds grows louder and closer. And you can hear the sound of the lake nearby, flowing into a river, a brook, under a bridge nearby. You sit there, and you can hear the change, that warm wind, the wind of the west. It seems to be changing as well. Before you know it, it's 60 degrees. And there's no remnants of what the snow was. Not even tiny white dots here and there. The grass turns from a brackish brown and gray. The leaves becoming almost red at first and then photosynthesizing to a green. The green of nature. Foxtails rise from the river. Flowers, morning glories, daisies, and peonies begin to bloom and sprout. Moss and grapevines roam around trees, over hedges, and ferns. And the creatures of this forest begin to move about again, completely unaware of your presence, far, far away from what you're doing. And in the distance, you hear it at first. You might not even know what it is. But it's a sweep. A sweep of wind. Coming from who knows where. Sweeping across the plains. And it's a quick thing. Very quick. It comes by before you even know it. And when it sweeps, the leaves of the trees pop from their little pods, and the flowers that once bloomed on their branches are caught up in this upheaval, sent scattering across the forest. And in no time at all, you hear the fish beginning to return to the waters, swimming with their fins. And before you, in all the flowers, a single butterfly lands on one of the petals. And I'll ask you, in the middle of all this beauty, when that butterfly lands on that flower, still in bloom, what color are its wings? I picture, and make sure you make your decision before I say mine, brilliant green and yellow wings, bigger than anything I've seen before. It's almost as if it pales the flower just by landing on it. The light catches and reflects from its beautiful filigree. And when you watch as it dances in the air, it follows 3 or 4 other butterflies similar to it. And with the leaves in the air, the flower is blooming. With everything just right. All the energy that you gave. And as it turns to just 70 degrees, just right, you can say with full confidence, without having to even think about it, that spring has come, and it's come early.